Like most teams up and down the country at the moment, Ipswich Town are in the market for another striker before the transfer window slams shut on Friday. So far, George Hurst has joined the club and looks like he can adapt well to Championship football. Freddie Ladapo and Caden Jackson are providing capable backup, but with the physical demands Kieran McKenna places on his strikers, another option seems like a must. Our mate Jacob Powley has not only formed a list of the attributes he thinks the new man might need to have, but also identified a few targets as well. The new man will need to give Town an outball to relieve pressure on the defence and occupy the opposition backline. Connor Chaplin and Nathan Broadhead are likely to carry the majority of the goal-scoring threat once again, so bringing them into play, especially on the counter, will be a big part of the new striker's remit. As well as being a focal point in open play, the new man will also need to be capable in the air from set pieces too. Town scored the most goals from dead ball situations in League One last season, and this will need to continue if we're to maintain our good start back to life in the Championship. Work rate is crucial too, with Town having to concede possession more often back at Tier 2. The role of the striker in chasing down the opposition defence is even more important than it was in League 1. Pace wouldn't go amiss either. Town's opponents are more adventurous than they were in the third tier, so any striker with enough speed to exploit high defensive lines could get a lot of joy. With that in mind, here are some options. First up is someone I know very well from his non-league days at Leamington. Colby Bishop, a standout in League One last season for Portsmouth after 3 steady seasons at Accrington and finally broke the 20-goal barrier last season with Pompey. Bishop ticks almost all the boxes for Town. His work rate is excellent, chases lost causes, and is comfortable leading the line by himself. 5'11", he's not the tallest, but makes up for that with an excellent leap and is a menace from set pieces. With the delivery of Leif Davis supplying him, there is every chance he could continue his scoring form a level up. Age 26, the potential for future resale profit with Bishop is limited compared to Town's other permanent signings and a game changer. Since the takeover, the potential for profit in any transfer target has become more crucial to justify investment, but the attributes that Bishop has may make McKenna and Ashton think he might be an exception worth making. Charlton's Miles Leaburn burst onto the scene at the Valley last season, a bright light in an otherwise underwhelming season. The 19-year-old shot-to-goal ratio was the best in the third tier, 28% of his attempts finding the net. Chances will be harder to come by for Town this year, a level up, so having a clinical finisher is even more important than usual. Leaburn's goals are varied too. His ability to shoot from range is exciting and will provide a different type of threat in the final third. Other aspects of his game, such as his hold-up play, need some work, but he's strong in the air, so could still be a decent focal point and is capable dribbling past his man and would relish the opportunity to run at Championship defenders. Given his age, Charlton will likely be after a 7-figure sum, and even though a fee of this size is not out of Town's reach, would Ashton and McKenna be willing to commit that sort of money on a teenager, particularly based on a relatively small sample size of games and with potential question marks over injuries? The next option is Sheffield United's Will Osula. This is perhaps a surprising choice because his goals record on loan at Derby last season was nothing to write home about, but he stands out as a player who could really improve with the right coaching. The Dane, who was linked with the move to Portman Road last summer, has outstanding physical attributes, and McKenna may see him as a project who can be moulded into a top striker. His time at Derby may also help him adjust to life at Ipswich. Paul Warne's in-possession philosophy is very different to McKenna's, but both demand a lot of their strikers off the ball, so leading a relentless press is something he has done before. Any deal for Osula would probably not take place until deadline day. Sheffield United have been playing catch-up for most of the window, and the 20-year-old has featured in the Blades' 3 Premier League games so far, meaning that Town will probably have to wait for reinforcements to arrive at Bramall Lane before a deal can be done. Dane Scarlett looks set to leave Tottenham on loan, with a few Championship clubs rumoured to be interested in taking him on loan. Kieran McKenna has made no secret of his admiration for the Spurs youngster, calling him one of the best young strikers in world football before last October's visit of Portsmouth, where Scarlett spent the season on loan. His spell at Fratton Park eventually tailed off after a strong start, but circumstances changed partway through the season after the appointment of John Massinho, who moved away from Danny Cowley's 4-4-2 system, and he found it difficult to dislodge Colby Bishop up front and struggled to make an impact when played out wide. The 19-year-old's potential is undoubtedly there though, and playing for a manager like McKenna, who has clearly got belief in him, will surely help him realise it. For Town, having a youngster with pace to get off the bench could be a useful weapon too, and Scarlett could get a lot of joy combining with the likes of Broadhead and Chaplin on the counter-attack. Cauley Woodrow has been linked with Town in the past and fits the profile of a physical target man who could thrive alongside our more skillful attackers. He finished last season on the bench for Luton, and with the Hatters unlikely to rely on him too much in the Premier League, a move to Town could interest all parties. Despite a disappointing goals return last year, Woodrow was a success at his former club Barnsley and netted 26 championship goals between 2019 and 2021. He led the line as the Tykes reached the playoffs 2 years ago and played alongside Town forward Connor Chaplin at Oakwell as well. Under Valerian Ismail, Barnsley were relentless off the ball, so Woodrow is no stranger to the role of pressing opposition centre-backs either. Given his track record and the suitability to the system, it would be a surprise if Town's previous interest in him is not revisited before Friday's deadline. So what do you think of Jacob's targets? Which of these would fit neatly into Town's squad? Have we missed any other obvious targets? And don't forget to watch our previous video on left centre-back targets, with that vacancy still possibly being available as well. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more Blue Monday Ipswich Town content, and we will no doubt be back to talk about any deals that get done on Friday.